it's Reagan, and today I am back with an annual tradition video, and that is books I am thankful for, and this is of course the 2018 edition. I started making this video, I want to say, a few years ago, and it's one that I really love. It's a video where I reflect back on some of the books I read this year and give some reasons why I'm thankful for having read them. It's kind of in the spirit of the upcoming Thanksgiving holiday. My personal, one of my favorite holidays, might be top 2 favorite holidays. Anyway, without further ado, let's chat through some of the books I'm thankful for. The first 2 books I'm going to talk about are by the same author. It might be a bit of a surprise, but that is Save the Date and The Unexpected Everything by Morgan Matson. I am really thankful for these books because I read them and loved them, flew through them, and they're both obviously part of a genre that I very rarely read, and that is contemporary fiction. So I'm really thankful that, one, I love Morgan Matson's books so much, but also just pushed myself out of my comfort zone a bit this year. I definitely stuck to my tried and true fantasy novels a lot, which I'm not mad about, actually loved about this year. But I'm also really happy that I gave contemporary fiction a chance, and I'll definitely be reading more Morgan Matson books in the future, as they never fail to put a smile on my face and warmed my heart a little bit. So I'm really happy and proud that I read something a little different, and I hope to take this whole thing and do more of that in 2019. So these are the first books I'm thankful for. Next book I'm thankful for is Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. I love this book. I'm thankful for this book for so many different reasons. Honestly, if I could talk about this book in every single video I film, I feel like I would if I could. This is a story that when I read it, I just kept being mesmerized by it, and also a little jealous that I didn't write it myself in some ways, because this is a book that has all of my favorite things in it. Literally every single favorite thing. It is a Russian fantasy novel following 3 different girls from 3 different walks of life who basically come together in unlikely of ways to basically fight the man. It is inspiring, it is dark, it is beautiful, it's enchanting, it's absolutely incredible and historically relevant. I love every second about this book. I am grateful that I just was able to read it and be graced by its presence. I'm grateful that Naomi Novik will hopefully be writing more enchanting fairy tale retellings, because they're always amazing. And I'm grateful that there's just so many great books out there, and this is one of them. Oh, also grateful for the UK editions, because hello, so beautiful. Next up is A Darker Shade of Magic. Now this is a book I didn't technically read this year, but was one that Clay read this year. He actually read the entire trilogy. I'm grateful for this book because it was something that Clay and I could bond over, in that he read a series that I had also read, and it was so fun to see him read this trilogy and talk to him about it as he did. This series also just kind of like reinserted the spirit of reading in Clay's life. I love that he read this series this year, and it was something that we could talk about together and share together. So I also just love this series so much. It's so good. So yeah. Next is An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. This encompasses not only that I'm glad I loved this series so much, as I read all 3 books this year, but also covers the idea of rereading series and giving them another try. I feel like something I did this year more than ever was giving series that I had previously thought I just liked kinda, but never really continued with, another try. And most times when I reread them, I loved them even more than I had thought I initially did. This was something I did really well in 2017 too, with like The Thief and the Queen's Thief series, but An Ember in the Ashes was a reread for me, and it was amazing, and I thought I was just never gonna read this series again. I was so wrong, and so I'm so happy that I listened to my gut and was like, I'm gonna give that book another try, because it was incredible, and that has been the case with so many series I've picked up for the second time. So I'm really happy about that. I'm glad I was wrong. And then I discovered that so I could be right, because this feels right. Same vein of that, I'm gonna talk about Neal Shusterman. Neal Shusterman was hands down my favorite author in middle school. I had read so many of his novels, but for some reason, going through high school and college, I just didn't really pick up a lot of his books. But when I picked up Scythe earlier this year, and by the way, blew through this novel, it is one of my favorite books of the year, it reintroduced me with one of my favorite authors ever. And so after reading Scythe, I read about 4 Neal Shusterman books in total this year and loved every single one of them. Neal Shusterman's ability to really capture the problems we face in society and write them in a way that's so entertaining and dark and terrifying is just one that's unparalleled in a lot of ways. Also, the Scythe series is another one that Clay and I were able to share together, and I read, then he read and chatted about. So I'm just really thankful Neal Shusterman is back in my life as a author that I love and enjoy, and I can't wait for more of his books to come out. He's so good. I love Neal Shusterman. Next up, I am thankful for Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas. For so many different reasons, but I think particularly, I'm just thankful that I've even just had this series in my life for so long. I feel like this was one of my original big fantasy series I talked about on this channel. One of the main reasons I felt like compelled to even start this channel was to talk about Throne of Glass. I'm also thankful that Sarah J. Maas ended this ride, this world so effectively. I thought this concluding novel was lovely. So I'm thankful that this series was in my life. Don't get me wrong, it has its faults. It's definitely not a perfect series, but it's been in my life for so long and is very foundational to my YA reading and my YouTube channel in so many ways that I have to be thankful for this book, and I have to give it that prop. We're also matching right now. Okay. But yeah, I just absolutely loved this. I thought it was so good. Thankful for it. And the last book I have to talk about is the ultimate book, and that is The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. But more than anything, I feel like this year of reading has been my Brandon Sanderson year. I felt like I read the Mistborn trilogy 5 years ago, loved it, and then didn't really read any Brandon Sanderson after that. That's not entirely true, but I didn't read many. I'd always planned to, but this was the year I actually did it. At the start of this video, I think I've read 7 Brandon Sanderson novels and counting, as I plan to read more before the end of the year. I love Brandon Sanderson. I probably will say he might be my favorite author. Whew, that's hard to say. So anyway, I'm just so thankful that I finally pushed myself to read something that intimidated me for so long, and the payoff of it was so worth it. This series is amazing and just opened my eyes to so much epic fantasy that I just feel like now it's like a whole new world. Like, I'm gonna be constantly on the hunt. I truly feel like I'm officially no longer terrified of size, because I've proven to myself that it doesn't matter and I can still fly through it. I'm also grateful for this because this is the series that introduced me to my start of subway reading, which has really changed the game for me, and also made me realize how hyper-focused I can be reading while completely surrounded by so much chaos and people literally touching you at all over the place. But still, that was like more. But yes, I would say my biggest shout out and thank you has to be to Brandon Sanderson for being the best, in my opinion. I love his books so much. He also produces them at such a pace that I can just only shout out to him for. I mean, in a world where sometimes you're waiting 15 years between novels, there's a Brandon Sanderson who's creating so many books with such high quality behind them. I don't even know how he does it. He's a superhero, truly. Alrighty guys, those are the books I am most thankful for in 2018. Let me know down below some books you've read that you're really thankful for, past or present, this year, whenever. I'd love to know. Anyway, I hope you guys have a lovely holiday if you're celebrating, but if you're not, I hope you just have a lovely day, and I'll see you guys soon with another video soon. Goodbye!